you put me plus you, it's gonna be unstoppable. Baby, coming over, got a kiss for you. Waiting on you, waiting on you. You know I know what is good for you.
Welcome to my channel. This is Adeola Naomi once again, and I'm here again with this month's episode of Life According to a Nigerian Greek Woman. I know. I already told you what we're discussing already in last month's episode. In case you haven't watched last month's episode, there will be up here a link in the cards so you can watch it. It was about catcalling and objectification of women in our society, both as a Nigerian and as a Greek lady. So we discussed that, and this month we're discussing a book that I suggested at the end of last month's video that we should read. It is a book by this amazeball, when I say amazeball, I mean amazeball writer, Nigerian woman, amazing, one of my inspiration as a Nigerian woman, and an inspiration to a lot of young people, to a lot of people that my friends that I work with, working as a woman empowerment advocate. There are so many things you need and you learn from Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. She is an amazing woman. She is one of those women where when they open their mouth, they know what they're saying. And when they open the mouth, not only do they know what they're saying, I'm sorry, I need to off my phone and stuff like that. So not only do they know what they're saying, they resonate a lot with you. You know, when somebody's talking and you're like, why are you talking about my life? So something like that is what happened to me the first day I actually read. First book that I read from Chimamanda is Americana. I went to a colleague and one of my very good friends' house. We were discussing over a project that we were supposed to do, actually that we did last year, that was for lifelong learning for migrant women from sub-Saharan countries who live in Greece. So we were discussing this, and we're just like, oh, I have this amazing Nigerian writer that you should read about. I have heard about her from families and stuff, but I have never put myself in I haven't got the opportunity to read a book from her. So I just get this book and I'm like, oh my God, you guys should check it out, by the way, Americana. And I'm like, okay, is she talking about my life or what's going on? The only difference is that it's United States and I'm in Europe. And I'm like, okay, most of the things she's saying, it's like I'm writing the book or something. But you know, I don't know if I can sit and write a book really, but I can do so many other things. I don't need to write a book. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. So what we're talking about the book, in case you have read this book and you're a Nigerian woman, you will know that a lot of the things in this book have happened to you. Yes, not all of them, mostly. You have been in a place where you have found yourself to come across things in this book in your own personal life. And if you're not a Nigerian woman, but you're still a woman, most of the things in this book will resonate again with your own personal life. So as a Nigerian living in Greece, there are so many experiences and so many situations that I do not come across every day because I do not live in Nigeria. And there are so many experiences that I still come around because I live in Greece, but sometimes I come across and go to a Nigerian community, for example, and find myself among Nigerians anyway. And the things that I observe as a researcher and as somebody who works in the field of women empowerment and works also with anthropologists all around me. I think like most of my friends are anthropologists, it's kind of weird, and sociologists, that a lot of things occurring around me just bring back, you know, the same thing. Like they all have a core root. The problem have one root, and I'm like, okay, especially today, this year, and this day. In the very, very beginning of June, I don't know if you guys are up to date with what's going on around the world. I think not only June, the first day of 2016, I woke up and one of my friends that I'm going to bring on this channel one of these days is gonna tell you this. We woke up and I'm like, is it really happening? Like, are we really living in a world that this is going to be a constant in our life? That every day you will have to face certain situations, certain circumstances, and you're like, okay. Or for the fact that, I don't know if you guys have read the book, but I want to tell you one thing about this book. I'm not going to summarize the book because that will be a spoiler for those who haven't read it, and I'm not going to read a portion of the book, but I will drop the link down below. So this book is like, you know, a compilation of Chimamanda's talk in TED Talk Houston. It's a TED Talk that discover African ideas and stuff like that. So she had this amazing speech, and of course it became a book. And this book actually you can buy for less than, in Greece it's like less than €3 or €5. So really, I can buy it for 10 people or millions of people. If you guys like think, can you get me that book? Can you leave that book for me? Of course I can. And we're actually discussing to have a library full of Chimamanda's book at work. Where I work with migrant women, not only Nigerian, but a lot of Nigerians also come into the place where I work and we discuss stuff. I'm not going to discuss with you guys, I'm discussing some other stuff with you. So basically is that she is explaining to the world, to people, because you know what, we all tell stories, we hear people telling the story of the African woman. But what happened to the African woman? Nobody wants to listen to her. Oh, is that true or not? I don't know really. But I feel like Chimamanda, Mina Salami, Taye Selassie, Ola Orokun, I don't remember her surname very well. Most of the African women that of my generation, that even they're not even the older generation like my mom's generation, that my generation or like decade older than my generation are talking. And I believe that it's time for the African woman, not a European savior, not a white feminist, not a whatever, but an African woman that lives on the continent, that is born in the continent, that the restriction of the continent applies to her daily life and to her daily routine and to the conditioning that she has been through growing up, need to start talking, and we need to start speaking up. We need to like not only just stay behind and complain and nag. I don't like the word nag. Complain that people are not listening to the African woman and people are not talking from a perspective of an African feminist. But I think it's time that we start talking, and I'm really glad that I'm born into this generation, because I'm really glad that I have people talking. Like, I have people to look forward to. I have Chimamanda, I have Taye Selassie, I have so many amazing women in front of me as a Nigerian that I could say, you know what, she's a feminist, and I'm a Nigerian and I'm a feminist, and it's not a bad word. And the problem with feminism and people actually badging feminism is that there is a totally distorted picture on what feminism is in the general mainstream media and in the Nigerian mainstream media and in the African continent. Because you know what, the general mainstream media shows you a feminist to be a woman who is supposedly a lesbian, who is supposedly a man-hater, who is supposedly a person who is always angry, who is always whatever. But we forget that not only what the media tell you is the truth, right? Not because the media tell you that Emma Goldman was crazy ass white woman who wanted to be slutty and sleep with millions of guys, because that's what people say when you say you're a feminist in a Nigerian home. Especially if you grow up in a Nigerian family and you claim to be a feminist, my dear sister, your head is like on the platter and they're taking it for sacrifice. Or as Chimamanda said in her book, you are on the verge of getting named as cursed, that you will never find a husband. Yeah, because you're a feminist. You know, feminists don't need husbands and they don't find husbands. This is, by the way, ironic and sarcastic. So I'm sorry with my sarcasm. Or that you're a man-hater, which actually is not only a Nigerian mentality, it's also in Greek society. In Greek society, to claim to be a feminist also kind of label you as a lesbian man-hater. And of course, in the fact that when you say you're a feminist in a Nigerian home, I will say from my own perspective and from what I have experienced is that I was raised in a home of with a grandmother who is a Muslim, who, of course, now she doesn't know and she couldn't say it herself, was a very, very strong feminist. And she, by the way, is married till her very last day of life of hers and her husband. So man that was married to other four wives, and she is the first wife in this family, with the firstborn who happened to be my father. And she is raising her son's daughter, who happens to be me, because in Nigeria this is like a normality, you know, when you grow, when you're old and you get married and you have a mother who is young and vibrant and energetic and businesswoman and everything, you could always like take your children to her to raise for you. And Nigerian family are very, 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 very connected and closely knitted together. So my dad and my mom left for Europe, and of course, you know, studying, migrant, you know, you just hustle, man. And when you're a kid, somebody has to raise that kid, and the person who does it in Nigeria and in the Greek society is the grandmother and the grandfather. Kudos to these people. Kudos to the grandparents. Kudos to the Greek grandparent and the Nigerian grandparent. I have seen both sides, so I know that it's the same. Like, I was raised since I was 3 months old. I love my mom. She's amazing. And I know the reasons why she does why I was raised by my grandmother. So no judging. Don't judge my mom. People do that like, wow, you were raised by your grandmother when you're 3 months old? Yes, people. And it was amazing and splendid experience, by the way. So my grandmother raised me from 3 months old till I was 16. So I actually meet my parents and start living with them as a family, you know, as a nuclear family, guys. when I was at the age of 16 years old, and being raised by a woman who has some amazing skills. Not only like she was a badass, like seriously, I think my grandmother is one of those grandmothers that you want to see in the dictionary next to the word badass. She will tell me every single day growing up as a kid that I should never take a no for an answer, never, from anybody, by the way, from anybody, whoever that person is. Even when I have a discussion with my grandmother and we don't agree on things, she will tell me, so why do you think you're right and I'm wrong? And I'm like, this is it. And we will have a very civilized, very, very, okay, as a teenager, I wasn't totally like so really civilized, but you know, like, I mean, like we don't have totally, we do have some heat up conversation, but she raised me to have values where I speak up for myself, where because I am a girl, because a Nigerian community is very, very patriarchal, and so is the Greek community, and so are so many other communities, but I'm just talking about my own communities who are Nigerian and Greek, patriarchal. So she raised us to be, me and my sister, to be very opinionated, and not just opinionated in a very blah blah way, but understanding of why you're opinionated. We were exposed to the best education, we were exposed to the best experiences, traveling since the age of 8. My first trip was when I was at 6 months old, and my first everything was way younger. Like, I had so many experiences that people my age haven't had, because I have a grandmother who told me, you have to have these experiences for you to have exposure, for your mind to be open. And in a Nigerian community, this can be a blessing and a curse. A blessing with the fact that I was raised to have opinion and to know what I want in my life and to go for it. And anything you want in your life, my grandmother told me that you have to work for it. And if you work for something, nobody will be able to ever say no to you. So for me, she is a strong feminist, and she was, I know I'm still using present tense, but anyway, she was the person that inspired me and made me who I am today. She molded me to be this person, and I keep growing from that experience and from everything she has given to me. And when I heard Chimamanda's story and I read this book, what I realized is that even though my grandmother was born into a family of mostly boys, and she was one of the 2 girls in the family, she wanted to go to school, and of course in her Asian time, she as a girl had to be in the house and be doing the cooking and everything, and education wasn't as important to them for a girl as it was for her, because she wanted to study, and she promised herself that all of her children, it doesn't matter if they're boy or girls, will have proper higher education. It doesn't matter what it will cost her. It doesn't matter what she needed to do. It doesn't matter how many wives her husband have. It doesn't matter whatever she has to give up, she will do that for her children. And I'm very happy for that, because that made me have a father who is very respectful of whatever opinion I have, and who, even though he might not want to accept it and come and claim it for himself, I claim that my dad is a strong feminist, because he is very blessed to have 3 children, who are 3 daughters, who he has raised also to have amazing opinion in life and to be educated and to know what they want in this life, which is very sincerely essential in the Nigerian community. So when I see the media projecting the Nigerian woman to be this subordinate woman, this woman who is expecting foreign aid to come and assist her, I feel like no, we're not like this. The Nigerian women are strong women, and we have amazing Nigerian feminists, and this should be out there, should be projected out there, because we need the younger girls to know that the things you aspire to are possible. And yes, if you want to be the president of Nigeria, you will be the president of Nigeria if you work hard enough, if you go towards it and you work towards it. And I just feel like the Chimamanda book shows how the Nigerian society and men generally in both Nigerian society and the entire world are oblivious to the things that happen in their daily life that affect the female population. So we live in a world where 52% of the world are female, and the other 48 are male. But I remember, like, we sing the Beyonce song, "Who Run the World, Girls." What do you mean? How many women are in top position? Like, how, when you look into a boardroom of a company, a very big multinational company, how many women are in the boardroom and they're leading the room? How many women presidents are there in the entire world? Those are very cute questions, you know. In a society where the 52 are women, you will expect that most of the leading roles are also owned by women, which is not. It's just the contrary. The contrary is that there are so many countries that women are not even allowed to have proper education. There's so many countries that the laws and legislation are very restrictive of what women can have. I mean, like in Pakistan, there is a law, there will be a law that, at least we're hopefully protesting against it, that will make men beat their wife legal. You know, when you make domestic violence legal, yeah. Way to go, Pakistan. Making me very proud. There is a gender equality law in Nigeria, draft bill, sorry, that was supposed to pass in Nigeria. Nobody heard about it, nobody talked about it, and of course it's not going to pass, because you know what? The feminists and the activists in Nigeria are just not talking about it. So the fact that, how do you make things change? How do you bring about change if we all just close our eyes to things that matter? Like, we don't talk about this stuff. We don't talk about feminism. Or when you talk about feminism, you're regarded as angry. I'm going to use every slutty word that, I don't know. I'm not going to put any beep. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say all the words they use as a feminist. I have been called personally a snob, a stubborn person, a slut, a bossy person, a naggy person, over-ambitious, overachiever. Guys, the words just keep going. I want a lot for myself, and what is the point of all of this if you're not getting married and getting a man's last name? I know, right? You need a last name to make it happen. So being a feminist just come along with all these words that we use to oppress girls, like tell them you're being too ambitious, you're being too bossy, you're being too sassy. Oh my god, I hate that word. You're being too sassy. So because I said I'm a feminist, that means I'm sassy, that means I hate men? I love men. I love the men in my family. I am a daddy's girl. Like, my daddy and me were like this. So telling people that being a feminist means you hate men. And when I say I love the men in my family, I love all of them, and I have a big family. And when I say I love men, I love every man. I grow up having friends who are guys. My best friend, one of my very good friends, is a guy. My cousins, my brothers, boys, guys, people. And telling people that being a feminist means you hate men. Really? Is that the point of it? Like, if you read this book and if you read any other definition of feminism, I'm going to bring a dictionary, but I'm just like, it's too far away from me. It's, the word feminist is a girl or a boy, a man or a woman who believe in equal right for both gender, irrespective of whether they're a girl, whether they're men, whether they're whatever, irrespective of your class, whether you're rich, poor, or middle class, irrespective of your race, whether you're black, Asian, or Caucasian, irrespective of your religion, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian. I have been going through so many anger issues. Not like I stopped caring about people calling me the angry black woman. Like, I actually embrace that word now, because you know what, once you embrace the word, you don't sound as much oppressed by, so you're not oppressed by the word anymore. Because if my opinion and telling you that I want the same right as you, and we get the same job, we get the same degree, and I want to get the same amount of salary is anger, and to you that's crazy, then crazy I am. So, in a nutshell, this book will tell you the perspective, feminism from an African perspective, how Nigerian basically perspective, and also that being a feminist is not a curse. Being a feminist is not that we hate men. We all love men. We love whatever. Your gender and your sexual orientation has nothing to do with being a man is a feminist. I have a grandfather who was a feminist. I have a father who is a feminist. I have friends who are feminists. I've dated men who are feminists, by the way. So saying that a feminist means you're man hater? No. So let your young girls be feminists. Let you yourself understand the word of feminism. Let us break and disrupt the idea of feminism in the mainstream media. Because the media says that being a feminist is just show your image of somebody that hates men. No, that's a man hater. Those have a name. They're man-hater for their own reason, okay? It's nice for them. Everybody have an opinion and everybody deserves to say whatever they want to say. But being a feminist means that I want to live in a world, from my own personal opinion and from the dictionary and from everybody that is a feminist, that knows the real meaning of the word feminist, will tell you is that I want to live in a world where my religion, my sexual orientation, my gender, my color, my race has nothing to do with the amount of money I earn, with the rights and duties I have in a country as a human being. So basically it's a core belief that says that women being at the same. Being a human being is just you're a human being. Nobody cares if you're white. Nobody cares if you're black. So there is no such thing as you're a black feminist,
Me plus you, it's gonna be unstoppable. Baby, coming over, got a kiss for you.